Hello, everyone. You're, as usual, listening to Metal Sound Media, and today we have a new guest for a new interview with Niklas, bassist from Katatonia, a band which I'm sure you all know. So thanks for being here, Niklas.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
It's an honor for me as a fan to have you here. To be fair, um, well, let's begin. If you've been following the band's recent activity, you're aware that Katatonia is going to release an album in like 10 days now. First thing I'd like to ask you, Nicholas. I've been following Catatonia for years personally, and I mean, in recent history, I feel like you've been extremely busy in the past few years. You've released your previous album, City Burials, that was in 2020. Sky Void of Stars, your next album is just a week away. And yet, in between these two albums, there's been a live album, Dead Air. There's been a compilation, Mnemosinian, sorry. And there's been a few other albums being remastered and re-released as well. And you've been touring a bit. Like recently, you've been on tour in the US. And of course, you needed to get back to the studio to record Sky Void of Stars. How do you find the time to do all that?
Yeah, that's crazy when you put it like that. And it feels like we haven't really done much. But when you kind of put it into a list, then I think that we have actually accomplished quite much, even though we had the terrible pandemic, which is still raging on, of course, in places. Yeah, and that compilation album, I can't pronounce it either. It's it's horrible, Mnemonomosian or something like that. So yeah, it's been quite much that we have been doing at like when you look back at it, and that Dead Air thing that we did from Studio Gröndal, that was something that very much lifted up our spirits and kept us going and had like a big important factor in our momentum as a band, as we got like a purpose back because of when we released City Burials. It was already in the starting grounds of the pandemic, so we couldn't really do any shows to promote it.
Yeah. So basically, in fact, just working, give you a new purpose in making music. I mean, that's great. That's great for the fans. Great for you if everything worked well. And so you've managed to do a few shows now since the pandemic eased up a bit. Recently, you've been on tour in the US with the Ocean Collective and Stella Darling. How do you get to this lineup? I mean, I know the guys in the ocean a bit. I've actually interviewed them a few months ago. And I know that their guitarist Robin's a big fan of Katatonia, and that Jonas, your singer, has guested on their albums as well a bit. But how do you get to such a lineup?
It's kind of like it's first, of course, that we think about what kind of bands we would like to have on a tour, to bring on a touring package, and then it comes kind of like a comprised list of bands that are kind of like putting their names out there, that are willing to tour, and wants to do collaborate things with others. So from that we kind of like down pointing to a few, and then we go for those that we feel the best for, and that we feel would be a fitting contribution to the tour and would make sense. And that's exactly also what happened with the Ocean Collective and Stella Darling. And we have actually been on tour with Stella Darling before, when we were promoting Night is the New Day, the 10th anniversary for that, back in 2019. So it was a group of people that we already met, and that we also feel works really well, and not just on a musical level, but very easygoing and professional, personally wise as well. So that was an easy decision. And yeah, the Ocean Collective, Jonas goes way back with those, and they're also very nice guys. They're some of the most, humble and good people that you can find on the road. So it was a pleasure having them as well, and also led to Jonas guesting them on stage during the Los Angeles show. So that also showed how well it made sense to have them on board.
Yeah, we should do that again in Europe.
Yeah, I think the demand for that is great.
Definitely. I'm just saying that because the Ocean is really a band I love personally, but that'd be great anyway.
Oh yeah, and we're kind of like hoping in London that we have that our traveling day towards London will end up the night before, because then the Ocean Collective will play together with a great Australian band called Carnival. So we're hoping that we will.
I see these dates. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're
There's one
hoping
in
that we will.
Paris in France, I think.
Yeah, so we're hoping that we will get there in time so we can see the
Yeah.
show and hang out with the guys again.
Be great for you. Um, uh, Going back to that previous tour and also to something on the new album, I know that on one of the dates, I think maybe in Texas, you've been joined by two other bands, Soen and Oceans of Slumber. And just getting back to Soen, I know that their singer is guesting on the new album, singing on the track Impermanence, if I'm not mistaken. Is this also someone that you knew beforehand that the band wanted to collaborate with, or how did it happen?
Yeah, we knew about him before, and the band, of course, is a great band, and country mates as well. Yeah, so it was a voice that we felt would be very fitting to the song and would complement Jonas' voice. It's not like night and day, the character of their voices, but they are kind of like they go very well together and they blend very well. And also how he phrases stuff. It's not just how he sounds, but also like the vibe and how he is kind of like having the rhythm phrasing his lines. So it's something that we felt would work out very well, and which also like proved to be a fantastic mix and a fantastic collaboration. So and yeah, I think Jonas has met him a few times before, so it was easy to approach him and ask if he would like to do it, and we're happy that he agreed.
Well, that's great. That's great. So, moving on new album, Sky Void of Stars. I mean, there's still a lot I'd like to ask. Starting maybe with the artwork, the cover artwork of the album. Um, in the history of Katatonia as a band, I think nearly all of the cover artworks have been done by Travis Smith. I think that's not the case for Sky Void of Stars, right? Who did the cover of that one, and maybe why the change?
Yeah, that's true. You're absolutely right about that. Travis Smith is someone who we have been working together since forever. Since even the computers were invented, feels like. But yeah, it's something that happened to be because we wanted to try something different and try like a new way of doing things, and to have another kind of input and to work artistically and aesthetically with someone else than Travis. Not that it hasn't worked. He's a very good artist and has made like some the most iconic and the most recognized Katatonia artworks. But it was time and to work with someone new, and this guy is called Roberto Bordin, and he designed a T-shirt back in the day for the Sanctitude release. You knew him from that time, and that we really liked what he's doing, and I think that he has put his own taste and his own character in his art, you know, into this album, and I think it turned out great.
Oh yeah, it does. It really looks great.
So yeah,
Okay,
we're happy with the with the new collaboration.
thanks.
I thought things would take off, but they cooled down. Your voice on the phone, I hear traffic behind. Violent rain, outside looking out, looking up, fragment of sky, looking to leave, transmit and deceive. Kill off the fortune tellers. You say that woe is always on your mind. You drag me back in for a breath of comfort. No longer telling wrong from right. Ghost like horizon of your eye. I hear things aren't well since you sold me out. I remember you clear in rituals of doubt and city lights from 1988 sprinkle like dust on your window pane. You say that woe is always on your mind. You drag me back in for a breath of comfort. No longer telling wrong from right. Ghost like horizon of your eye. Maelstrom, I'm drifting away, staying under. You fall back to aged ideals, controlled by thunder. Ruled by dishonor. Come, feel, I am not real. Oh, it's always on your mind. You drag me back in for a breath of comfort. No longer telling wrong from right. The ghost like horizon of your eye.
So now maybe something about the sound of a new album. Well, over the career of the band, Katatonia has been able to renew itself. I mean, stylistically, the band has evolved a lot over the course of the past 30 years or so. And there's always something different on every album, which is great. Is this something that comes naturally, or is there a natural will to change stuff? And as well, I feel like that while Katatonia is dark music and the lyrics are dark and grim, but it feels that musically it's moving towards the light. Could you comment on all that?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's might be more shimmer of hope in the sound nowadays. There is less just depressing, but that there are lots of other like maybe more light elements into the music. As you can notice, there's more rock and roll into the music nowadays with the introduction of all the guitar solos, for example, and heavy songs that could like fill an arena, though that kind of color, and but the change is more of an evolution than a revolution. It comes in subtle changes in increments, and it's nothing that is stressed or forced. That the band feels that now we have to go in this route to make things happen, or to gain any kind of success. It's just something that happens to be because we're ever changing creatures, and we get inspired by different things throughout the years, and that's the fuel for creating Katatonia music. It's the influences and what feels right at the moment, music wise, and it also of course have to sound like a Katatonia album. It would be we would feel weird if, for example, Jonas would all of a sudden just listen to swing jazz or something, Then we're changing our instruments to something else, Maybe I would need to pick up my old trusted saxophone, since I was a saxophone player in the beginning of my
Okay.
music endeavors. But yeah, I don't think that it would ever go like to the extreme changes, since it's more changing in increments, and it's not like strategically changing the band into another kind of sound or a realm. It's something that is created, and something that is happening due to that the influences just changes with time. Sometimes you mature into something else, or sometimes you get the other way, depending on who is judging you.
Thanks. Well, it just comes naturally and it's great. I mean, I have nothing to complain about the sound, really, it's great. And you have kind of half replied to my next question, because I was going to ask, but I felt that the new album is more guitar heavy. You mentioned that it's more like rock and roll as well. So I guess we both agree on that. So I guess that also came naturally.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, with Roger's entrance, the possibility of writing stuff and hard and kind of like sometimes intricate stuff is easier, and also coming back to the screaming guitar solos, it's something that just comes naturally, and the member changes can also be something that catalysts a different kind of approach to the music, because then you have more influences in the band, and which gives color to the records. And I don't know if it's something that is something that Jonas thinks about when he writes music when a new member has come into the band, if that's something that he feels like that he wants to change things up. I think that it's something that comes maybe more kind of like subconsciously with someone coming into the band.
Thanks. So the new album Sky Void of Stars will be released on the 20th of January, so it's extremely soon. For now, the general public has had three singles: Atrium, Austerity, and more recently Birds. On the three of them, there's a description on YouTube. I mean, there's a description, small text, like describing the album, which says, Sky Void of Stars, a dynamic journey through vibrant darkness, born out of yearning for what was lost and not found, the very peripheries of the unreachable, but composed and condensed into human form and presented as sounds and words true to the Katatonia signum. No stars here, just violent rain. I would like to focus on the last sentence of this description. No stars here, just violent rain. What does it mean, and what is this violent rain we're talking about there?
Oh, that's a good question, and it's something that I haven't really been explained either. You know what that means, and it kind of ties together with the lyrics of the album and all the albums of Katatonia. It might be a very uninteresting and vague answer from from my side, but it really has to do with kind of like how you see it as well, and how you kind of interpret it and how you kind of take it on with your own experiences. And but I would say that it has to do with us, you know, coming back, and that we feel that we are a very strong and very united and like unity group, and that we're going back out and we're gonna, you know, reclaim what we felt kind of what was lost at the beginning of the pandemic, that we finally can do what's in our very core, that we want to go out there and not just play music, but also, you know, see the reactions of the listeners and connect in that way.
Okay. Thanks. So in your perspective, so that this violent rain is kind of you as musicians, as people getting back on the road, kind of.
Yeah, in a way. No, and not just coming back on the road, but like in a way having being able to put out new music, and don't and not feeling that we're restricted by an entity that we can't control over, you know, that we are kind of like in control of our own fate right now.
Great, thanks. Um, Next, you'll be on tour again, starting the end of January, maybe like 10 days or so, and throughout February as well. Going out with Solstafir and also with some. For anyone interested in our listeners, there are three French dates: one in Lyon, one on the 5th of February, one in Toulouse on the 9th, and Paris on the 20th. Um, I'm assuming that you're happy to get back on tour. I mean, that's what you already said when talking about the previous one you've had in the US. So, are you looking forward to it?
Oh yes, very much anticipating it, and you know, for me myself personally, I don't really understand or like get the vibe until we start to really prepare for it, and we have been preparing for it starting Monday this week, and we've been rehearsing our asses off to make ourselves sound as good and as we can, and to feel as comfortable and stage as well as we can. So and today was nothing different. So I pretty much came straight from rehearsing with the boys to doing interviews. So it's very much a busy schedule before the tour starts, and it actually feels great, and it also feels very, you know, uplifting and very nice that the band is being, you know, recognized, and that I can do things like this to chat with you and chat with what's to come. You know.
So maybe one last tiny question, maybe a slightly personal one. What would you say is your personal relationship with that new album, Sky Void of Stars? How do you see it, in your opinion? What's your I don't know, what's your thought? What's your link? What's your emotion running through you while listening to this album?
I think it's something to do to like reconnect with the whole pandemic situation. That it feels like it feels like an album that is representing coming back to something that felt was lost, and I think that it has had a greater meaning for me than the other records in terms of getting to hear the new material and getting that presented to me as a band member in the middle of a time where at least I felt quite lost myself, and where I needed to try to get as much positive elements as much as possible in my everyday life. And that was the like something that really made things endurable, to know that new music was created and that you got to hear new music coming from from Jonas Lair, and it has really kept up the motivation and the morale, at least in me, and I think it's the same with the others. So it represents coming back to something that that you really missed, and that you really need, because that's kind of like in the core of our existence to do this.
So I guess this is slowly reaching its end. Again, thanks a lot for being here today. Um, do you have anything that you would like to add?
And thank you for having me. I mean, it's very nice. It's very nice to speak with you on a very dark and cold Thursday afternoon here in Sweden.
Yeah, it might be
And
colder and darker than in France.
yeah, yeah, it's horrible. And outside my house, they're renovating the facade, so I have scaffolding and people running around, with drills. So it's double the joy and darkness, in my apartment. So it's nice to do these things, and yeah, and I hope that as many people as possible can come out and enjoy our show when we hit France. And it's very good to be back. And also, I would like to add that everybody should keep on rocking, and all the cool kids should stay in school.
Great, thank you. So don't forget, dear viewers, dear listeners, that you can go catch Katatonia on tour in Lyon, Toulouse, and Paris, or anywhere else, wherever you're living. We'll call it quits for now. Thanks again for having been here. And see you on tour. I hope so. Well, in my
Yeah, I
case,
hope so as well.
I know I can't make it this time. I was planning to come to Lyon, but I have to be away in Spain for work.
Ah,
Can't
shit.
do
Yeah,
everything at the same time.
yeah. I totally get you.
Okay.